I'm getting closer to God. And then the next day, the next day, it's like these are
Yeah.
ways now for people to walk with us, and for us to kind of give those tools, you know, um, so that people get out of that place where they don't actually have the exercise that it takes to be faithful. You know what I mean? Like faithful. Like you can
Yeah.
have a look like Devin, you were talking about that last night. Like when you first got tapped in and you started to fill yourself with faith, it was a reason why
Yeah.
you had to start your journey with filling yourself up with faith. You couldn't just wake up the next day and say, "All right, now I love God so much because yesterday, because I
Yeah.
heard His voice." Because what happens when times get hard and you think that He's going to come and save you and you don't hear His voice, and then you're gonna be like, "God
Yep.
don't love me no more. I'm not a Christian no more," And
Yep.
we can't.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
How you feel about that?
Exactly like that. That is absolutely correct because it got to take faith. Before you would come to God, you reach on faith. The most funniest thing is a lot of atheists has more faith in believing that God not real than we have faith believing in God. I'm talking about they put their powers like there's no God that come with, and I'm talking about they on fire, they coming with the knowledge hard. Why can't, if they are so on fire to to proving that God ain't real, why do we not have the power, the same fire to show and prove that hey, God is actually real?
Exactly.
It's that faith. You gotta build up a lot of faith. The Bible says now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I know I told Puff about this yesterday. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's there. It's not there. You gotta go based off that leap of faith. You gotta go that extra faith. When the disciples was on the boat, and they was in the storm, and Jesus was asleep, and they woke Jesus out his sleep, telling him to help, Master, help, help, help. And what did Jesus do? He calmed the storm, and he told the disciples, "Have you not have not little faith?"
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing, and they knew Jesus was God at that time, but they didn't have the faith, and that's what matters.
And that's such a virtuous
You
thing
can, yeah,
because they were with Jesus on the boat, knowing that he was the son of God. And when shit got bad, they still was like,
yep,
that's something that's really hidden inside of the word that people really have to sit with that, I think, for a minute. Because how often do we panic and not
yeah,
realizing that in that panic is the actual reveal of how strong your relationship with God is.
yep. And watch this revelation. The revelation of it is they knew he was God, but they couldn't see it. A
Mm.
lot of times we know God is with us, but we have to see it to believe it.
Mm.
But if you know that God is with you, and you know and you believe in God that it doesn't matter what that I go through, He's gonna make a way. Trust, believe. He gonna make a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We believe and we know that God is with us, but we want to see it. Then that's not faith.
And that's why this, like, it was really hard to flush out the base of the thought of what this is. But that's why this is faith and focus. And Devin, I don't know if you definitely probably do remember when I was first calling you on the phone. We were first talking about just when I was hearing the voice for the first the first little bit, and we were kind of talking
Yeah.
about the idea of it all. Um, this is the like in my mind, this right here, this very moment. But at that moment back then, when we were on the phone, man, I was so far away from the the small details that made this moment possible, from the equipment even to the actual stuff going on in my brain that actually allows me to sit down right here right now and do this,
Yeah.
and all we were just talking about was just that, just that faith. We were just exercising faith on the phone, just talking about it. And I think that that's what I feel called on by God to do, is just show people what it looks like to have faith. Because like when I was talking to Pastor Jay,
Absolutely.
and y'all gonna meet Pastor Jay soon. He's the minister that's really helping with the nonprofit. He's out in Illinois. Um, he, when we hopped on when we hopped on the call, he was just already like he was taken away by the idea of it all, and just having that alone being included, like I didn't understand how I could get the actual literature involved. You know what I mean? Like, and that was really holding me back and making me kind of unsure. But even in that, God showed me like, look, you don't have to worry. You don't
Yeah.
have to even think about how it's going to happen. And then when you called and prayed last night, Devin, you prayed over just the encounters, and understanding that all of this is happening on its own is just like the most beautiful thing. And like I said, I think that, you know, he Pastor Jay was saying that the church is changing, and
Yeah.
in for the better, because it is understanding that it needs to be cleansed and healed from within, so that
Yeah.
the youth and the fresh fruit can come in and be, nurtured to grow. But right now, the new fruit can't come into the church and grow because of all of the, like we talk about traditions, and
Yes.
the traditions have gotten outdated, and now they have to they have to refresh. But it's not enough to just say that and blame the old people if we can't teach the new people how to actually build the church back up. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because if we all
Yep.
just say, okay, the church need to change, the church need to crumble, and we need to rebuild the church, but don't nobody know how to build the church for real, then we lose what we have.
Yes.
Or we have to stick to the traditions that don't feel comfortable, and then we lose them by the numbers.
Yep.
So these vehicles that I'm trying to create with faith and focus, heroes, even just with the life coaching thing, and trying to learn more of the literature with you, Devin, so that I can implement it into the coaching itself. It's all because in the small ways that I can be a vessel or a tool. I'm just one tool in the toolbox, for the building. I'm a screwdriver. Devin, you a hammer. Charles, you a drill. Everybody. It's a lot of tools that need to be used to build this thing from the inside out. Because you got to think, we got to build the pillars, the chairs, the seats, the drape. You remember? It's about 5 or 6 chapters in the Bible that just go through building the church. Y'all, and
Yeah.
then they go in detail about how long the pole is, and
Yep.
how high everything got to be. And Jesus was specific. I mean, God was specific. What's that? That's the Old Testament, ain't it?
It's in the
It's in the
New
New
Testament.
Testament. Oh, it's in the New Testament too.
It's actually in both. It's
Word,
actually in both.
word. Because I remember when I was going through that, I was like, man, this is a long. They gonna detail every single inch of the church. He went into
Yep.
detail. Everything had to be specific colors,
Literally.
specific patterns, a certain height, a certain width,
Yep.
specific
Literally.
material. And
From
we
the
don't
yep.
think about that metaphorically when we talk about building faith, and we talk about building this relationship or building this religion into something that not only brings the people back home and back in, but can keep them there. You know what I mean? For themselves, and because that confliction is hard. God's love is
It is.
conflicting if you resistant,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is.
the issue. Is that the people are coming, but once you come, like we talk about that cross you got to carry once you walk in, and that pruning, that squeezing and that crushing, and that picking, that
Yep.
process right there is what a lot of people that when they turn around.
Yep.
But if we can create the environments, and we can reform the language, not the language of the word, but how it's being communicated, how it's being expressed. That's why I love this one pastor on Instagram. I gotta find his Instagram, but he be making these, he goes into the Bible scriptures and like talks about them inside of the like style of like love and hip hop. And and it's the greatest. It's so cool because it's actually straight. It's right, like it's spot on for the literature, but it's
Yeah.
just the way he
Oh, I
uses
think I
the
know what you're talking
language.
about.
What
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you say, Charles?
Sorry,
Sorry.
no, I'm just saying. I just remembered who you're talking
Talking
about.
about.
It's
It's
like
like
I don't
I
know
don't
his
know his
name,
name,
but
but
sorry,
sorry,
carry on. I
Karen, I
interrupted you,
interrupted
but
you,
I
but
know
I
who
know who
you're
You
you're
talking
talking
you
about.
about.
seen the videos? Hold on, I'm gonna try
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Yeah,
find
yeah,
it.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
He'd be
He'd be
like,
like,
he was
he was
talking about
talking about
David and
David and
Goliath
Goliath
once. He
once.
was
He was
like,
like,
David,
David,
ah, bro, I
bro, I
actually need
just
to
need to
find that
find that
video.
video.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
Sorry,
bro, I
bro, I
interrupted.
interrupted.
Bro, that
That
video
video
was
was
so
so
good,
good,
man.
man.
So you agree, Charles, that type of content and that type of stuff is important for just the
Definitely,
future of this.
definitely,
Definitely,
bro.
bro. I
I
remember,
remember,
I
I
think it was
think it was
about
about
two
two
years
years
ago.
ago.
Um, I had
I
to
had
go
to go
preach
preach
at
at
Beth
Beth
Yeshua.
Yeshua.
It's a
It's
it's
a
a Hebrew
Hebrew
Apostolic
Apostolic
Church in
Church in
Petersburg,
Petersburg,
Virginia,
Virginia. Mm.
and
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 their
their
church
church
is
is
very,
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 very
very
traditional.
traditional.
When you
When you
start
start
getting
getting
into
into the
Hebrew
Hebrew
stuff,
stuff,
Hebrew
Hebrew
churches,
churches,
they
they
very
very
traditional
traditional
with
with
Hebrew.
Hebrew. Okay.
Amazing
Amazing
church,
church.
amazing
Amazing
church. I
church.
was
I was
able to
able to
learn
learn
about
about the
like I'm
like I'm
talking
talking
about. They
about. They
literally
literally
had the
had the
scroll
scroll
of the
of the
Torah.
Torah.
They
They
had their
had their
shawls
shawls
on.
on.
It was
It
a
was a
beautiful
beautiful
experience.
experience.
I was
I was
able
able
to
to
learn a
learn a
lot
lot
from
from
what the
what the
forefathers
forefathers
Abraham,
Abraham,
Isaac,
Isaac,
Jacob
Jacob
did
did
back in the
back in the
day.
day.
And I
And
was
I was
able
able
to
to
basically
basically
do the
do the
exact
exact
same
same
thing.
thing.
It
It
was
was
beautiful. They
beautiful. They
had the
had the
Torah,
Torah,
and we
and
would
we would
take our
take our
tassels,
tassels,
and
and
we
we
would
would
kiss our
kiss our
tassel,
tassel,
then
then
kiss it
kiss it
on the
on the
Torah, the
Torah, the
scroll.
scroll.
It's
It's
literally like
literally
a
like a
scroll and it
scroll and it
opens.
opens.
We
We
would
would
kiss our
kiss our
tassel
tassel
and
and
touch it
touch it
on the
on the
Torah of
Torah
the
of the
scroll.
scroll.
Then
Then
they would
they
have
would
a
have a
translator
translator
that
that
speak
speak
Hebrew
Hebrew. Wow.
that would
That would
literally
literally
they had
they
a
had a
translator that
translator that
speak
speak
English.
English.
They
They
wrote the
wrote the
Bible. They
Bible. They
opened
opened
the
the
Bible.
Bible.
They
They
read the
read the
verse.
verse.
Then
Then
on the
on the
scroll,
scroll,
I
I
was
was
able to
able to
look,
look,
and
and he had
he
he
had
had
like a
like a
pen or
pen or
something,
something,
and he
and he
just
just,
as the
as the
person
person
talking
talking
English,
English,
he
he
just
just like a scribe
reading
reading
it.
it.
Mm-hmm. Then
Then
after
after
they
they
finished,
finished,
the
the
translator
translator
that
that
speak
speak
Hebrew
Hebrew
um
um
said it in
said
their
it in their
language.
language.
It
It
was
was
beautiful.
beautiful.
So I
So
had
I
a
had a
chance
chance
to
to
preach
preach
there.
there. That's amazing because look, when I first went through the Old Testament when I was in Houston, that was something that I was really like adamant about when I was talking to my homie at the time, Josiah, about like just like his parents are ministers, and I was like, why don't Baptist Church talk about Hebrew? Like, why don't they talk about black people
Yeah,
being like of Jewish descent? Like, why don't we like we've thought we've forgotten, or we assume that the Jews are white, or that they're like
yeah,
some other descent, when it's
yeah,
clearly in the Bible that I'm just going to say it's in the literature. It's in the literature. We don't
yeah.
need to go too deep into all of that because that talking
Yeah,
about
I
that's
don't
like a
care what
study.
nobody
Nobody
says.
says
Everybody in the
everybody in the
beginning was
beginning was
black.
black. Exactly.
But
Man,
yeah, when I went to that church, I was able to preach at their church, and
mm,
the Lord, I was afraid at the moment because when you go to traditional churches, you want to make sure you're not out of order. But the
yeah,
Lord done shifted me into telling them that there got to be new methods in these times.
even there you said that. That's hey, that's a
So, and I'm happy I obeyed because a lot of Hebrew churches, when the pastor is preaching, they are allowed to interrupt the pastor and ask questions. They raise their hand, and the pastor will stop teaching and answer the question in a lot of Hebrew churches. So they did that, and every single one, even the pastor, asked questions because, and they was able to run and understand that yes, there gotta be new methods. What I taught was, although there has to be new methods because of the times changing, make sure that the morals, which is the anchor, the scriptures don't change.
mm-hmm.
That is that is that is the that is the number one thing. When we look out throughout scriptures, God don't change who he is, but he changed the methods
Mm,
for that specific time.
yeah.
So the Lord was able to deal with me to let that church know that although the scriptures, the morals, that's the anchor. When you when you on the sailboat and they drop the anchor, it don't move. It's unmovable. That's the
Mm,
scriptures. That's just the anchor. That don't change. But the methods has to change. It don't matter how you. It don't matter what the methods is or whatnot. Alone, it don't hinder or contradict the scriptures. But the methods got to change when you want to reach more people, especially in these day and age. And that is the problem that what churches don't do. They so stuck and caught up in their own ways that what they've been doing for years ago, not knowing that this is 2025. The same methods that worked in the 90s or the early 2000s is not the same methods that's going to work in 2025.
exactly.
So we got to change the methods, especially when we want to reach these young people.
And that's why I say, well, I say let's not change the methods in their church. Let's just build what we building. Because if
Hmm.
at some point we got 100 people inside of this and we just congregate on these topics, then they're gonna get the perspective on how to actually follow instead of
Yep.
just hearing about God and seeing it on Instagram or when they go broke, they're like, oh, I'm a pray, I'm a Christian my way out of hard times. Like, man,
Yep.
I done been praying to
That is
God
real.
when I had
Yes,
money,
it is.
broke up, man, selling stuff, not selling stuff, fucking up, not fucking up. Me and God done we done talked for a long time through a lot of phases of my life. Even when it was not good conversations, I was still talking to him, but I was just saying other stuff. But
Yeah.
I've always been aware of just that protection that I had. And when it was time to understand the responsibility and stop running away from it, I had to figure out what it looked like to me to do that. You know what I mean? And like I said, those are just small examples of the tools that we're going to have to design within each other because at the end of the day, how long is it going to take to change a church that's been doing things for 100 years the same way? They don't have a reason to change because the
Yep.
people inside of
Literally.
the church aren't even the youth that are in the church that need to be able to receive the message aren't becoming strong enough to even form or carry on a new tradition if they started one in reality.
Yep. Yep. You're
And
right.
that's why we need more CEO Christians. We need more entrepreneurial Christians. We need more business-minded Christians to say, okay, hold on. It's all good and dandy to understand the Bible and understand the literature and the scripture, but how we gonna take this to the masses? How we gonna take this and actually get the people to do it the right way once they understand it at that level, though. Because we don't want a bunch
Hmm.
of we don't need a million weak believers. We don't need a million people that just say they believe in God, but they're scared to jump off a cliff. Shit,
Yep.
I would throw it all away at any moment. And we done did it a couple times. We done started this thing over a couple times, and I never lost faith, and I think that I've only gotten to a point now where I feel like I've been protected through all of the times when I could have lost my life that I
Yep.
owe my experience now in this way. Like I owe it. Like I feel like it's it's beyond me. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason why I survived. Because there was multiple times when that should have not been the case. It could have not been the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only me and God knows what those experiences were in my life, but we know what's up. You know what I mean? So it's like at this point, I don't know, that's just where my head is every day, all day. And like I say, it's the commitment part on the other side of the faith that I personally deal with. So that's why I try to create business models out of it so that it helps me commit. I have to commit to
Mhm.
heroes. I can't just make that a thing and then it is not going to turn into anything without me doing something. So it's a commitment inside of my faith that allows me to grow. But
That's
unless
okay.
everybody understands the walk in that way, it's going to be hard to make this happen on a grand scale because people gonna get called to God and they gonna get scared of the voice.
Yeah.
Period. That's just the reality
Yeah.
we living in. That's just the reality. Because
Oh
we're
yeah.
in America. We're not. It'd be different if we were being raised and conditioned like the people in the Bible, and then you heard the voice of the Lord, and you outside in the field picking grains of wheat, eating leavened bread, and then God speak to you. Man, there's people out here getting
Burning
doing
bush.
God knows what.
Yeah. Yeah.
These people ain't ready to hear that voice. You talking about obedience? Oh man, what? Motherfucker ain't even practiced obedience since they left the crib at 18.
Yep.
Ain't denied that. You talk about crucify the flesh. Twin, when the last time you told yourself no when you had some money? You know how hard it is. Like,
Never.
let's be real about this stuff. That's why
Yes.
I want.
I
That's
Yep.
why
really
I
do.
hop in this field because I'm like, we gonna get to the ends of this. We gonna get into it. We
Yep.
gonna we gonna reshape and reframe and reform and restructure and build strong together. Cause I'm not even I'm so far from the where I need to be to even speak on this stuff. I ain't ready to be. I ain't one of the people that say, Lord, make me great, deliver me in front of the stage. I'll choke up right now. And that's why I love you so much, Devin, because you like the one that got the torch in front of me right now with the baton. And I get to see you just thrive and see you just grow and see you evolve and learn from you and just be inspired. But it's an inspiration because I know that I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But we got a job to do together. Like Mother Teresa said, we got different things that we can do to where I could create an opportunity for you to do what you do best and vice versa. So we just create that to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, encompass more and more and
Yeah.
more people. And now we got something. It's something being done. Now we can bring people into that and actually do some work. But it don't happen
Yeah.
as just like, all right, I'm gonna just start up this nonprofit and we're gonna start saving lives. Like I sat in that thought process for like a week and 3 weeks, and God just pruned me, man. He just kept talking to me, like you're not gonna do this unless you start something.
Yeah.
It's just gonna sit on your phone unless you start something. I'm like, well, how do I start? I can't go outside and buy a church and start preaching. And he like, or if you think it's gonna be that easy, you might as well get his vision up right now. But I ain't finna deal with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Literally. Not
like
easy.
for real.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting thinking, like, man, well, what is it? Like, I'm calling my pop, like I'm looking up. All right, well, can I get business loans? I'm going and printing out papers and stuff, thinking now we could go there. You know what I'm saying? We could go there. These legal
Yeah.
documents, we could go there. You know what I'm saying? This is really what it is. But it's like, man, it's so much more to it than even me just thinking that it's gonna happen like that. So even
Yeah.
even even I'm still listening for more and more and more of that word, more and more and more of that. And that's why I'm just so grateful whenever you call me, Dev, and we talk, because it's exactly what I need right now. And I can't wait for people to be able to get a taste of this so that they can want to join this conversation, and then we can all just, you know, share stories in there, and just talk in here and, explain. And there may be more perspectives on faith and religion and the belief that take me and your perspective to another level,
Yeah.
Devin.
Yeah.
Like we not done.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know
Yeah, I
my
know my my
my apostle
apostle
Flowers.
Flowers.
He's
He's
funny.
funny.
He's one
He's
of the
one of the
apostles that
apostles
go
that
to
go
the
to the
Hebrew
Hebrew
church.
church.
He was
He was
like,
like,
Dev,
Dev,
because
because
I
I
pop at their
pop at their
church here
church
and
here and
there.
there.
When I
When
feel
I
in the
feel in the
spirit, I
spirit,
go
I
to
go
their
to their
church.
church.
So
So
he
he
said,
said,
it's a
it's a
funny little
funny
thing
little
he
thing he
always
always
say.
say.
He's like,
He's like, you know what,
Devin,
Devin,
bro.
bro?
He
He
said,
said,
for some
for some
reason,
reason,
you
you
always
always
popping out
popping
of
out of
nowhere
nowhere
at the
at the
right
right
time.
time. Mm, mm.
And I
And
let
I
him
let him
know.
know.
I was
I was
like,
like, I
I
said,
don't
I
do it
don't
on
do it on
purpose.
purpose. I just,
When I
when I
feel it
feel it
and when
and
I
when I
see it,
see it,
then I
then I
move.
move. Mm.
That's
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 that's what
that's what
matters.
matters.
I'm at
I'm
the
at the
point in my
point in my
life
life
that
that
I don't
I don't
ask
ask
God
God
questions no
questions no
more.
more.
I
I
used to a
used to a
lot,
lot.
but
But now
my
my
life I
life,
don't
I
need
don't
to
need
ask
to ask
questions
questions
because I'm
because
not
I'm not
fearful of
fearful of
what's going
what's
to
going to
come
come
ahead of me
ahead of
no
me no
more.
more. Mm, that's powerful. Mm.
Because I
Because I
know
know
when we
when we
first start
first
our
start our
walk
walk
with
with
God,
God,
we
we
ask
had
so
so
many
many
questions, and
questions,
it
and
is
it is
good to
good to
ask
ask
questions.
questions.
God
God
wants us
wants
to
us to
ask
ask
questions.
questions.
That
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 saying
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 never
never
question
question
God.
God. That's a
Since
since
why?
why? One sec, Dev. What happened to the sound? The sound went out.
Hello, can you
Oh,
hear
can
me?
you hear me? I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. The sound. There we go. Hold on. Let me go back
I don't
into
know
it.
where I
Where I
left off
left
at,
off at. Yeah.
but
But
God
God
want you
want
to
you to
ask a lot
ask a
of
lot of
questions
questions
because
because
if you
if you
don't
don't
ask
ask
questions, how
questions,
will
how
you
will
know?
you know?
How will
How
you
will
be
you
able
be
to
able to
see a
see a
clear
clear
vision of
vision
what
of what
God
God
wants you to
wants you to
see?
see?
You won't
You
be
won't
able
be
to
able to
if you
if
don't
you don't
ask
ask
questions.
questions. Mm-hmm.
So
So
while
while while
people
people
still
still
on
on
milk,
milk,
learning,
learning,
soaking in
soaking
His
in His
presence,
presence,
because
because
they're new
they're new
believers,
believers,
ask
ask
as
as
many
many
questions
questions
as
as
possible.
possible.
Because
Because
when
when
God
God
shifts you
shift you
from
from
that
that
into a
into a
new
new
season,
season,
trust and
trust and
believe me,
believe me,
it's
it's
not
not
going to be
going to be
easy.
easy. Yeah.
You
You
really gonna
really
have to
gonna have to
stand
stand
on your
on your
faith.
faith.
A lot
A
of
lot of
times, I
times, I
remember in my
remember in my
early
early
walk,
walk,
I had a,
I had a,
when I
when I
felt
felt
doubt
doubt
and
and
fear,
fear,
I had
I
to
had to
go
go
back to
back
the
to the
place
place
where
where
God
God
delivered me
delivered me
from.
from. Mm.
I
I
wanted to
wanted to
feed
feed
off
off
that
that
presence that
presence
I
that I
felt
felt
when He
when he
first
first
brought me
brought me
to Him,
to him.
and that
And that
helped me in
helped
my
me in my
early
early
walk.
walk.
And it
And
and
it
it
and it
and it
and it
helps
helps
because
because
it
it
shows that
shows
he
that
was
he was
always
always
there the
there the
whole
whole
time.
time
Until I
until I
learned
learned
and
and
grew that,
grew that,
hey,
hey,
I don't
I
need
don't
to
need to
reach out
reach
for
out
a
for a
past
past
feeling in my
feeling in my
old
old
season when I
season when I
already
already
know and
know and
stand in
stand in
boldness
boldness
that
that
he's here
he's here
now.
now.
Absolutely.
So
So
And
early
early
walk,
walk,
yeah,
yeah,
it's going
it's
to be
going to be
tough.
tough.
It's going to
It's
be
going to
tough
be tough
from now.
from now.
and even what you were telling me last night to add in on what you were saying, and tie it back to what we were talking about last night, and they can watch the YouTube video and hear a little bit about what we were going over in that video. Just when we talk about Christians aren't supposed to be broke, and that
Yes,
misperception that you're supposed to be poor just because you believe in God. It's like, boy, you could get you some money, and like you could go be a
yeah,
hustler, you go be a
absolutely.
paid Christian, you go be a paid man of God, and I love how you would talk about it. But even just to tie it into what we were just saying, it's about the mindset. Like you said,
Yes,
the main thing you said at the beginning was you were fearful of what was ahead, and the questions came from the fear of what was ahead until you became fully aware that you don't need to fear what's ahead no more because you know he's right there. And even in that
yep,
moment, there's still questions, but they're not the questions about what's ahead or the questions
yep,
about where you come from. They may just be questions about who you are and how you can work through your
yep.
mind, and just they're just more it's different questions, and if you're questioning God's timing, then you're not focused on the right things. You're not asking your internal
I,
consciousness the
yep,
right questions. You see what I'm
yep,
saying?
absolutely.
i, I question myself to cultivate my ideas and scale the value level of my decisions. But I don't question, oh, is God going to change my life tomorrow, or is
Yeah,
God going to provide this or da 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 da. So the questions that I'm asking myself all day when I'm spending time with God aren't me asking, oh, him, what he gonna do for me. In that
mhm,
time, I'm allowing myself to learn more about me that draws me to him, and then we just spending time talking. And so I think it's important that we communicate to the new believers and the members of the heroes and the faith and focus and the people in this community that the more time you spend with God, the better. You just got to
yes,
learn what
absolutely.
that time look like, and understand God as a father so that you can feel that presence and know what it feels like to just be able to just talk to him like that. You know what I mean?
Yep,
And not come from a place of worry and fear of what's ahead, but at this time now you just spending time understanding what your design is. Like I spend a lot of time going into my child experiences and the developmental processes of my life and just analyzing what I can pull from my memory so that I can understand what God created. I'm not spending time thinking about if Faith and Focus is going to get a sponsor, or if
yeah,
we're gonna if I'm gonna get the funding from the mega church to put into face card, because me and Charles, we do business together with he has the Perdexa app and I have the face card credit builder, and we joint ventures on that to create the future of evangelism and credit building, so that we're
yeah,
we're bridging just the social media aspect of getting people off of Instagram and more focused on using social media to just fill their time and their mind up with what's right. It's like that's something that's big for me because it's like I can't. If you told me to be a Christian, I had to stop scrolling on Instagram, that would be hard.
yeah,
And you know what I mean?
absolutely.
And for our generation, imagine how many people would lose their salvation if it cost them just scrolling all day.
Yep,
But what if there was an app that did not cause that to be the outcome? Because instead of scrolling all day, filling your mind up with the poison, you could do it filling your mind up, spending your time with him.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, well, boom, now I can scroll all day because it's what I need. It's what we need. So it's really fascinating to just sit and talk. And when I had the idea for Face Card, I didn't even me and Charles didn't even talk about doing business together, but he was the missing link that I needed, and I was the missing link that he needed, and we both didn't even know that existed until he asked me if I could give him a shout out on Instagram, and I was like, a shout out? I was like, bro, I could see a whole vision with this that could go way
Yeah,
beyond me posting it on my story. Like we could have this, I, you know, the number one app in America. So now we just
yeah,
waiting on him to get it all situated to go in the app store. Once it's ready for the app store, um, I'll it's my job. I gotta finish getting the 501(c)(3) on my end so that I can get the finances situation set up to get the card from Visa, and then boom. So, but that stuff isn't the stuff that I sit and think about how it's going to happen. I didn't think that I could meet Pastor J. That just happened, so I'm still learning, like we a long way from the conversations that we were having when I was doing security at the construction site, just with the idea of just trying to get closer to God, you know what I mean? And it's like I couldn't have imagined what the process to this point right now, in this moment right now, where we're essentially having the first liturgy of faith and focus naturally, without any type of you know pre-planning, any type
yeah,
of it was his will, and people could see in stuff like this what it means to say his will be done, or
yep,
it's not just enough to hear these scriptures or hear this literature if you can't have it to internalize.
yeah,
If you can't internalize it, if you can't receive it, and now we're being able to create a way where God has allowed us to show people the actual physical representation of faith and how the unseen works. And I've just been blessed with the ability to kind of articulate what's going on to where people can see that this is the actual fabric essence of God's work
yeah,
and the unseen being done. You know what I mean? And it just happened. It happens like this when you can't make it up. You can't explain it too much, too deep. You don't really know how. We just know where we started and we know where we at now and we know what's about to go down. So it's just like, you know, people being able to experience it and see it in this light, I feel like is at this point bigger than me and you, Dev. We just have a job to do to continue to feed off of each other and create these environments for more people to not only get the fire and the motivation on the the moving side, but then you contrast with the actual anchor of okay, but don't get lost in these things that way because this is what this actually is and what this actually means and how you actually
yeah,
end up where that is where it's meant for you. What when you don't end up with some fragmentalized result because you done got off course. What we talked about, what is we said that boy Solomon, fell from grace.
um, yeah. It was King Solomon. No, King Saul. King Saul.
King Saul, yeah.
King Saul.
So we ain't
Yep.
trying to make no Sauls. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I say we gotta
Over
just
in the Bible. Hmm. Yep. King Saul.
so man, so
Yeah.
Dev, I'm gonna
It's
let you go, and I'm gonna wrap up this part of the liturgy right here. Then me and Charles, we're gonna do this interview real quick, and then we'll hop back on and rendezvous tonight, Dev, and kind of add some more flavor onto what we building for this. And kind of, I think this is a good way for us to actually put this into an effect where we could talk and actually, create it in a way where people can benefit from the way we just talk to each other.
okay. Okay. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Glory, man. Glory. This is beautiful, man. It's beautiful. But I'm gonna talk to you soon, brother.
Yes, sir. All right. See you soon.
All right, love you.
Have a good one, though.
Yeah, man. So that's my brother-in-law.
Oh, actually, like, I thought you were saying like brother, like friend, but actually,
Hmm?
I I thought like you meant like he's your brother, like he's your boy, like your. But you said brother-in-law, like actually,
Yeah,
like actually family.
he's with my little sister. And
Oh,
they've been engaged and together for like shoot since they were like freshmen in high school. They met each other at a Burger King while they were working their day jobs, and then they just locked in from there. And he's a yeah, he's a part of the family, but he's always been like a pastor, he's always been a minister in that way. I just wasn't able to receive him in my life the way that we're able to bond and connect now because I was always doing the most, and God just had to work on me and work on him. But it was for the greater good because he truly brings out a better side of me and allows me to exercise it and make it real. Because it doesn't just happen by itself. People have that misconception, and that's why people don't have results in their life. And the people that have results in their life are seen as extreme only because to be at the effect of a result that's beneficial to you, you have to do an extreme amount of calls. You have to be
mm,
the catalyst. So being the catalyst for everything in your life would make you look like an extreme person. But it's not actually an extreme person. It's just that that's just the bare minimum of actually making something happen in life. And I don't know. I think that me personally, I would only die unhappy if people could say that knowing me didn't give them the opportunity to see life that way. Um, so I'm definitely happy to have the sense of self and the confidence and know that I really was carried through this by only one, only one. They have to
mm,
know it. They have to see it. You know, and like I said, at the end of the day, this is still just me seeing that I won't just automatically be what God has for me. It's meant for me. It's there. Yeah, I got it. There's a reason why discernment's a thing. There's a reason why resistant temptation is a thing. There's a reason why not lusting is a thing. Because if I'm making moves to get to what God got for me, guess what? I may bump into lust. I may bump into
mm,
temptation. I may bump into wanting to commit adultery or some shit. You know what I mean? Like that. Those
yeah,
things are set up for us to not fuck off in the path to success. People don't understand that though. And that's why they stumble.
roadblocks.
So I'm cracking the code. I'm just putting it out there. Like I'm just like, here's the sauce. If everybody's been confused on how to utilize Christianity to like unlock what God got for you, I'm all right. I guess you guys just couldn't figure it out until like I had to tell you. But going to church ain't gonna give you this information. I mean, they hide it. They try to keep you coming to church so that you can keep paying tithes, so that they don't have to pay taxes and can ride around in luxury cars. They don't want to tell you how to actually work with God to get you to not have to come to church to pray and fall out and shit. Like, you know, don't make no sense. You're only falling out because you dirty. Why you dirty? How you got the word and you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
what you hiding? What you trying to what you guilty for? What you feeling odd about? That got you in church kind of, hollering and hooting and shit. That's what I want. So it's like I'm debunking the noise and I'm creating clarity with the power that he's given me. This is just my gift. My gift is just a small thing. Devin has a gift, and God has aligned me and him to be able to work together for his gift and my gift to work together. And I don't know, Pastor Jay, his gift and your gift brought me and you together. And we were just able to see. Devin said something really brilliant last night. He said people don't know what blessings are, and they say that I'm blessed or you're blessed or God bless me or blah blah blah. He said, but people don't actually know what a blessing is. He said a blessing isn't having money or having things. A blessing is when God moves somebody's heart to work in your favor. That's it. That's what a blessing is. God has to move somebody's heart to work in your favor for it to be a blessing. So if
That's
you
true.
if you go and do some foul shit, that ain't a blessing. Or if you go to work
Mhm.
and get paid, that's not a blessing. You just got a job. It's not a blessing. You know? If
But I
you
think I think
holding
even
on to
getting that
money,
job is a blessing.
getting the job is a blessing, yes. And that's why
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
working, you should feel blessed because somebody had to move on their heart to pick you to do that job. But people will feel like, oh man, if God would just give me a job with more money, that'd be a blessing. That ain't a blessing. You don't know how to ask for the right thing. You see what I'm saying? That's what people don't have. Look, when I started to build faith and focus and build face card and stuff, I moved in the path of my blessings. That's literally how me and you got to this point right now. Cause you said, yo, could you post this on your page? I said, yo, I feel so blessed that I'm not gonna charge you to post it. I'll just post that regardless, and let's actually talk about how we can build something bigger for people. And then God moved on your heart to say, okay, I actually want to work together. And now we're here.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. Face card is gonna be a blessing to people, you know? That's why I know it's gonna be good. Products is the same. So it just Christianity doesn't have to be stagnant, and I think that's what makes people unattracted to it because they think it's still, they think it's boring, they think it's no motion. You know, to me, being a Christian is like GTA. I'm in this shit. Like I'm, woo, 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 and his name is 1K Nephew. That's the guy. That's the pastor
Mm.
that talks about stuff like that. And that's why I love him so much with what he's doing is because it's if you're able to hear the way he explains it, then you see the Bible is literally GTA. There's the wildest shit happening in the Bible, and people don't understand that. Okay, how are you thinking this shit is vanilla, bruh? Every single thing that is wild as hell is in the Bible, and it's not even bad. Like God, not even going crazy. He just chilling while it's happening. We think that he finna destroy the earth right now, and people aren't even as bad as they already were 1,000 years ago. If you're able to really notice, but people don't notice stuff. They too busy thinking that what's hidden knowledge is astronomy and shit. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But I'm here to shake it up a little bit. I'm just trying to do my part. I'm just trying to do my part. That's it. That's it. That's what I care about, honestly. That's all I.
I'm hearing you, bro.
So, but let's hop into the interview, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Let's
Let's
see.
see.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
do you
do
want
you
me
want
to
me to
just
just
like
like
start
start
asking
asking
questions,
questions?
like
Like
as
as
if
if
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
who
who
you
you
are?
are?
Yeah. However, I mean, even if you just asking me real questions, that's just like questions. You just wanted to ask certain questions. I mean, it has to be any kind of way.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Um,
Um,
firstly,
firstly,
your
your
name is
name is
Alonzo,
Alonzo,
right?
right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Is
Is
that
that
from
from
like
like
a?
a?
Is
Is
that
that
like
like
Spanish?
Spanish?
Is
Is
that
that
like
like
where's
where's
the
the
descent?
descent?
Like
Like
where does
where does
that
that
come
come
from?
from?
I don't know if it's Spanish due to like being like like maybe like like sold to some slaves or something. I don't know. I don't have any like Hispanic grandmas or anything that I know of. But my last name is Avera too, so my whole name is Hispanic. Like my name is Alonzo Cornelius Avera. Sounds like a
Hmm.
guy that probably is Spanish, but
That's
all I
real.
know is
That's
I got a black dad and a black mom. But maybe there's something else going on.
okay.
Um,
So
so
firstly,
firstly,
how
how
did
did
you
you
how
how
did
did
you
you
like
like
hold on,
hold
no,
on,
no,
no, no,
let me
let
not
me not
ask
ask
this
this
question.
question.
What
What
did
did
your
your
life
life
look
look
like
like
before
before
Christ?
Christ?
Hmm.
If you
If
had
you
to
had to
describe
describe
it
it
in
in
like
like
5
five
words,
words,
what
what
did your
did your
life
life
look
look
like
like
before
before
Christ?
Christ?
Um, Uncertain, risky, volatile,
Mm,
fun, promiscuous.
right,
Yeah.
right,
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 right.
right. And
And
how
how
would
would
you
you
say
say
your
your
life
life
is
is
now
now
looking
looking
with
with
Christ?
Christ?
In
In
5
five
words
words
again.
again.
Secure, safe, accountable, real,
Mm,
patient.
okay.
Okay,
So
so
what I'm
what I'm
seeing
seeing
is
is
a
a
lot of
lot of
development,
development,
hope,
hope,
and
and
an
an
actual
actual
structure.
structure.
I,
I'm,
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 I
I
think I'm
think I'm
right in
right in
saying
saying
that,
that,
right?
right?
Okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
okay,
okay.
okay.
So
So
in the
in the
next
next
5 years,
5 years,
I mean, obviously
obviously
you
you
don't
don't
know
know
what
what
God
God
has
has
in
in
store
store
because
because
what
what
you
you
have
have
envisioned
envisioned
may be
may be
smaller
smaller
than
than
what
what
God
God
even
even
has
has
in
in
mind
mind
for
for
you.
you.
But
Yeah.
in
In
5
5
years,
years,
if you
if
had
you
to
had to
make a
make a
little
little
guesstimate,
guesstimate,
what would
what
it
would it
be?
be?
Um, I'm really just a a, a teacher, you know. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but I don't like to think about the future of what could be. I just know what God already put me through. And when I think
Mm,
about what I've already been through and what he's brought me through, all I can think about is teaching. So, at some way or in some shape or form, in 5 years, I'll be teaching something somehow. If it's coaching, if it's actually teaching for a school or something, if it's a counselor, I don't know. I'll be utilizing what I went through to show people something better in life.
okay. In
In
Matthew,
Matthew,
Jesus
Jesus
says
says
that,
that
I think
in
Matthew
Matthew
24,
24,
he
he
says
says
that
that
until
until
the
the
gospel is
gospel is
spread
spread
to
to
like
like
all
all
the
the
parts of
parts
the
of the
world,
world,
that's when
that's
the
when the
end will
end will
come.
come.
Well, he
Well, he
says
says
when
when
the
the
end will
end will
come
come,
when the
when the
gospel is
gospel is
spread to
spread to
all
all
the
the
ends
ends
of
of
the
the
earth.
earth.
Yep.
How
How
do
do
you
you
think you
think you
can
can
quicken
quicken
that?
that?
Because,
Because
of
of
course,
course
with
with
face
face
cards
cards
and
and
Apostle
Apostle
Faithful
Faithful
Focus,
Focus,
you
you
are
are
now
now
seeing a
seeing a
different
different
approach
approach
to
to
spreading the
spreading the
word.
word.
Mm-hmm.
how do you think you can boost this so even more people are reached? Even the thing is, obviously, there's the parable of the sower, right? You've heard of the parable of the sower, where like the seed goes on rocky ground, good soil, thorny stuff. Of course, not everyone is ready to receive the word. But what's your method of spreading the gospel to as many people as you can?
Well, I think we're going to do it easily with Face Card and Predexa. I think Face Card is going to accelerate it a lot because everybody needs money. Everybody needs to survive. And stewardship is something that doesn't get talked about enough in the Bible. And I think that what's that? What do they call it? Prophet preaching or something like that. When the churches are always trying to prod people for money, I think that that's an
Oh,
ineffective
prosperity
way.
gospel.
Prosperity gospel, yeah, that's crap. But I think that equipping the minds of believers with the tools to actually access wealth is going to give them the motivation to want to seek God because they're going to need the strength to actually fulfill the mission. That's what brought me to him. So I'm just replicating the process that made me somebody that wants to be an amazing Christian and just telling the people how to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Because it's no secret. And if you read the Bible, that's what the entire story is about. That's why it's the walk, and people just don't know how to break down words and what things mean. I think people's sense of like context, there's not enough philosophers today for people to actually understand how to progress. But I'm very philosophical and I'm very attractive. And I come from a world where I think I have a lot of influence on people that can influence people and they respect me. And I think that that's just something that I can make as a mechanism to do that. But like at the end of the day, on a bigger scale, like I say, face card is people need to survive, and we're going to give people the opportunity to build, financial fortitude and give them the opportunity to, you know, strengthen their faith and strengthen their ability to seek faith and their ability to actually seek out a more fulfilled life and what that looks like and what that feels like you know and ultimately what comes with getting towards that, because once you realize what fulfillment is and you realize what purpose is, or when you actually know why you want what you want in life, or what that genuinely means to you, then the actions that make you want to be healthy and make you want to be a model quote unquote Christian will follow naturally. So just by psychology, you wouldn't even notice that you were a model Christian once you actually found what you want to do in life. It would turn you into a Christian. And that's the power of God. That's why God is the king of all. That's why he's the number one, is because it goes deeper. I could talk all day about that. You didn't ask me that question, but yeah, if you wanted to know how I would use who I am to speeding up everybody knowing about Christianity is by giving them the opportunity to see how they could associate it with getting money.
Okay,
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 okay.
okay.
So
So
it
it
sounds
sounds
like you
like you
have a
have a
lot of
lot of
history
history
with
with
finance, of
finance, of
course.
course.
Um,
Um,
let's go
let's go
deeper
deeper
into
into
that
that
though.
though.
You
You
said
said
that
that
your
your
influence
influence
can be
can be
used.
used. Could
Can you
you
tell
tell
me a
me a
bit
bit
about
about
how,
how,
like,
like,
your,
your
what's the
what's the
word?
word?
Not
Not
expenditure,
expenditure,
your
your
ventures
ventures
from the
from the
past,
past,
your
your
past
past
ventures.
ventures,
And
and
it
it
sounds
sounds
like you've
like
been
you've been
successful
successful
in
in
them.
them.
So
So
could you
could you
tell me
tell
a
me
bit
a bit
about
about
like
like
your
your
past
past
ventures?
ventures?
Well, I got my start really in Virginia. Once I moved to Virginia, when I'm my senior year of high school, I started to kind of really feel myself a bit. And I went to a different high school for every year of my high school career. So I never went to high school to the same high school for 2 years. I went to high school for freshman year, then a different high school my sophomore year, different high school junior year, different high school senior year. So I always had that, like, my mind never settled on like stable or like one friend group or like one identity. I always had to, as soon as I got figured out, I had to uproot and move and do it all over again. So that was already kind of how my brain worked. And when social media kind of came into play, I didn't really need to utilize the internet to do that because I was already able to move around. So I started to do that. And once I graduated, I was like already confident in like, oh, I could just go to LA. Like, what do you mean? It wasn't nothing to me. So I just did it. I just moved to Atlanta, just did it. I just went to New York and did it. And in doing those things, I just kind of met the people that were pioneering certain industries and certain avenues earlier on in their journey just because the average person wouldn't be in that environment from somewhere else. So that was really like the testament to like if you want to know the secret to how I know so many people or like know all the right people. A lot of people ask me like, how are you so connected? It's not that I got like tapped in or like that I'm a part of some like organization or like I'm like clouded up or anything. I I just understood the power of movement and networking and having faith in yourself and believing in yourself really early. And I think that there's limitations on the actual potency of believing in yourself, but I'll go into that in another way with another question. But um back into just like the actual successful ventures. I had a pretty good music run for a bit. I did that until I started to get into fashion when COVID happened, and we all thought the world was just, like not going to operate and no shows were going to happen. So I was like, all right, well, same kind of theology. I'm not stuck anywhere. I can do anything, move anywhere. So I just uprooted and bought a sewing machine as soon as COVID mandate happened and everything shut down. I remember I got laid off. I got, well, whatever they called it from wherever I was working. They said, "Hey, we don't, we're not having any business, so we got to furlough you or whatever." I took that last check and I went and bought a sewing machine, a Singer 4432 from Joann's. And that same week, I taught myself how to sew and I started making clothes. And then I would go to Goodwill and like buy two pairs of jeans and cut them up and make like these flare pants because I had this vision in my head about like men wearing bell bottoms. And I did that until I ended up going to Atlanta to protest for the George Floyd thing. And I had some of those pants with me. By that time they were pretty decent looking. And I ended up getting into communication with a very successful black entrepreneur in Atlanta by the name of Zoe Dupree. He's a mogul. He's a super successful person in fashion when it comes to just pioneering for black individuals in that avenue. And he just threw me an opportunity and took a risk and he put the bell bottoms on a rapper that would have never probably wore that type of outfit, but it went viral. And at the time he was with Drake, and the picture that he had on with my pants got more likes than the picture of with Drake. So the record label took account to that and pretty much moved me to Atlanta. I started living with the A&R for the label, and they brought me on as like a wardrobe assistant, and I was pretty much like a tastemaker for that label. And I just went to all the music videos. I met all the rappers and whatever, whatever. And that was like my first taste of like industry success, like riding around in the black trucks and going to the club through the back and all that type of stuff. But it didn't come with any type of fulfillment. So I was still seeking that like deeper meaning. I didn't really know what that was at the time at all, because I had just came from just like trying to be a famous rapper, and here I am now with all my famous rappers as a designer that makes clothes, and I'm like completely messed up in my head because I'm scared to tell these rappers that I make music because they know me for making clothes, but like if they knew I made music, that would be exactly what I even got to that point for. So that was a really crazy part of my life, and then they planted the seed for Born Star. Thank you, Zoe. He gave me the idea to make a brand, and then I made Born Star, and then that ended up being the next successful venture that I had when I had pretty much later down the line moved to California, for good and started doing my thing out there. Actually, just like a social persona or whatever. I didn't really have a thing or a goal at that point because I was like, shit, there's no point to call myself a rapper. I've lived the rapper life as a fashion designer, and I don't really feel like trying to do it again making music because I didn't even like it when I did it for making clothes. So I was just enjoying living in California, and I I didn't want to be done, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do from there, and that's how I found out that I wanted to get into quote unquote management at the time, but it was really the foundation of what I do today with coaching and creative clarity coaching. But at the time, I thought I wanted to be a manager. And I went and took out a business loan I got with this VC. We started this whole business model to start a company that was like the FUBU of the music industry. And yeah, that was a thing. So I started doing artist management, talent development, boom, boom, boom. Became a booking agent for a couple artists. Um, did some booking for shows and put some artists on tour, and took that money and invested it into project management and moved to Hollywood and invested into Born Star, and then I launched the brand from there officially in LA. And then that went well, and I did a complete rollout with no influencer marketing, just off of Face Card, which is why we got to Face Card, because I literally made it happen off of my Face Card, literally, and through the grace of God for sure. You know, like that's all I can say. It was with God in my face. Like that's literally how I got everything I got. I don't have any education outside of a high school diploma. I don't come from money. I'm from a really small town called Augusta, Georgia. I'm the only one of my friends that made it out of that small town that I know. The only friend that I know made it out of Richmond too out here that I know. So I don't have any like crew or like any support system to do the things I do. I just believe in God, and I know that He gives me the strength to do these things, and they just happen. And I've just been able to reap the benefits of them over time. And now I'm at a point where I'm in my life where the only thing I genuinely want is a well-rounded, fulfilled, full life where I make money from wherever I want to make it, and I can spend all of my time with my family, and I can start my own family, and I can teach people how to do that. So I got into wanting to start the coaching business, and that's where we're at now. And I'm just really educating myself because I come from a different world. It's kind of hard to try to be an educator in a sense with no education. So I'm going and getting all the certifications and doing the paperwork, and really diving in to taking my time to actually become. And that's why I say I know that the walk with God is real, because there's no way for me to step into my purpose without refining myself as a man and renewing myself as a man.
Mm.
So that's why he says, do not be conformed to the patterns of the world, but be renewed by the spirit of the mind. If you understand what that looked like, if you can look into my journey and see that that's what this is, then Christianity will make so much more sense to you, and you will understand how to be successful as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
You
you
definitely have
definitely
a
have
lot
a
of
lot of
experience.
experience.
God is
God is
definitely
definitely
taking you
taking you
from
from
your
your
humble
humble
beginnings
beginnings
to where
to
you
where
are
you are
now.
now,
And we
and we
thank
thank
God.
God.
Because
Because
honestly,
honestly, you would even be talking about him even.
Um,
Um,
I
I
do,
do
I
I
do
do
wonder
wonder
though.
though.
5 years
5 years
ago
ago
from
from
today,
today,
you were
you were
still in the
still in the
world,
world,
right?
right?
five
What
years
would
What
ago,
you
would
yeah.
you
say?
say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what would
what
you
would you
say
say
to
to
the
the
5 years
5
ago
years ago
version of
version of
you
you
that
that
was
was
young
young
lit?
in lit?
Not
I'm
saying
not
you're
saying
not
you're
lit
not lit
now,
now,
but
but
I'm not
I'm
saying
not
you're
saying
not
you're not
young
young
either.
either.
But
But
what would
what would
you,
you,
No,
you know
I'm
you
what I
know what I
mean
definitely
by
mean
lit
by
young
young
now.
lit?
lit?
Um, man, 5 years ago, I was 22. That was when I first touched my big first lump sum of money. Um, and I wouldn't even say I was like of the world. Because when I got the money, I was like I thought, at least I thought I was like understanding of God. Like I thought, I thought I was like holy in a sense, or just not bad. But
Mm.
Mm.
I would tell myself to read the word, like read the Bible, like read it. Just read it. Like I felt spiritual, and I let my spirit guide me morally, for more or less, outside of just being 22 years old. But I would have told myself to just read the Bible. I would have spent all of that money a lot differently. And I structured my life in a way that it wasn't a waste, but the value system was completely off. What I valued at 5 years ago, I don't value anymore. And in life, you kind of get what you put your time into, so you have to be careful what you value, because if you create something based off values that you have in this part of your life, well, you kind of got to deal with that shit if even if you change. Some people don't. Some people are scared to change because they don't want their values to change because they don't want to have to start over. They're scared of looking at something that they created and not resonating it with it anymore, or outgrowing it. There's a lot of people that look fucking stupid, quite frankly, because they're scared to lose what they resonate with, or grow and evolve and have to do the work to make something new. So they just stay in this little box and frame of this thing that is adjacent, or that is congruent with something that was important and look cool to them in their fucking teens, like they're 19, 20, and now they're 30 years old looking like a teen. Stupid. I don't think that's smart. I don't think you should position your life to be a person like that. So I would tell myself back then that you're going to be saved by the grace of God, but you're fucking up. Like you're about to do something completely stupid because you think that you care about this, and because you're literally like God's chosen, you're going to survive and be okay in the end. But if you take this blessing right here, because it was a blessing, I could have got fucked, but um, if you just take this blessing and do right, you'll never have to worry about anything in life. But see, instead of taking the blessing and doing right to not have to worry, I took the money and worried about doing everything right because I didn't trust God. I thought I was smarter. I thought I worried so much about figuring out what to do with the money. I didn't take the money and just work with what I had. If I would have just took the money and worked with what I had around me, I wouldn't have had to spend a dollar, and I would have been able to invest it all into my family, which is what you're supposed to do as a man, as a Proverbs man. But I couldn't have told you a word out of Proverbs 5 years ago, bro.
Okay.
But
Okay.
God still showed me so much love. Like I still was so turned up, like off of nothing. That's the crazy part. Like I literally come from nothing, and I literally did everything that I wanted to do from that part of my life. And that's just the crazy part, really, is that happened. But I would just tell myself, like, you need to, instead of saying thank you God, thank you God, thank you God, like actually, like, learn him. Because if you learn him, then you'll be successful. But I was of the world, so I was doing worldly shit, thinking that I could do that forever.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Um.
Um,
Wow.
wow.
Um.
Um,
There was
there was
something that
something
I
that
was
I was
reading
reading
today,
today,
which
which
I'm
I'm
actually
actually
supposed to.
supposed to,
Obviously,
obviously,
it's
it's
Sunday
Sunday
right
right
now
now
where I
where
am,
I am.
Hmm.
and
And
it's
it's
in
in
Joshua,
Joshua
24:15.
24:15.
It's basically
Basically,
Joshua
Joshua is
saying to the
saying to the
Israelites they
Israelites, they
just reached
just
the
reached the
promised
promised
land,
land,
and
and
Joshua's
Joshua's
about to
about to
die.
die in it.
But he's
But
talking
he's
to
talking
the
to the
Israelites,
Israelites,
and he's
and he's
saying,
saying,
um,
um,
"As for
"As
me
for
and
me
my
and my
household,
household,
we will
we will
serve the
serve the
Lord."
Lord."
Basically, he's
Basically,
saying,
saying,
pick who
pick who
you will
you will
choose to
choose to
serve:
serve,
the
the
Lord
Lord
or
or
the
the
old
old
false
false
gods
gods
from
from
before.
before.
And he
And
said,
he said,
"As for
as
me
for
and
me
my
and my
household, we
household,
will
we will
serve the
serve
Lord."
the Lord.
Obviously,
Obviously,
he's just
you
told
just
me you
told me
want
you
a
want a
family.
family.
You want to
You want to
be a
be a
man of
man of
God
God
who's
who's
now
now
able
able
to
to
do all
do all
this.
this.
Of
Of
course, when
course,
you
when you
become a
become a
father,
father,
God
God
willing,
willing,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
it's
it's
gonna be
gonna be
a
a
whole
whole
new
new
a
a
whole new
whole new
bowl,
bowl,
right?
right?
Yeah.
With
With
social
social
media
media
and
and
all of the
all of the
things that
things
are in
that
the
are in the
world right
world
now.
right now.
Of
Of
course, when
course,
you
when
have a
you have a
child, it'll
child, it'll
be
be
a lot
a lot
bigger.
bigger.
Or I don't
I
want to
don't
say
want to say
worse
worse
because
because
I'm
I'm
probably
probably
will
will
be
be
worse.
worse.
How do
How
you
do you
plan
plan
on
on
managing
managing
all of?
all of?
How do
How
you
do you
plan
plan
on
on
what's the
what's the
word
word?
in
In
teaching your
teaching your
child in the
child in
way
the
that
way
they
that
should
they should
grow?
grow.
Um, really letting God do the work with that. In a way that I just kind of seek counsel, do the things that God told us to do, and we're not sure about certain things. Like there's instructions to do with uncertainty. That's it's like seek counsel, spend time with your elders, just stuff like that. I would do those things and listen for what I'm being told to do in that moment, in those moments, and I would just kind of follow that the best way. Because truth be told, there's
Mm.
no way to do it perfect. There's no way to avoid the mistakes. And I have an amazing dad. I have an amazing father, character-wise. He's such a great guy. And the only thing that eats him up is that I made him feel like there was that he should feel bad for unavoidable shit. And as a parent, there's unavoidable shit. That's just unavoidable. And you have to prepare for that. You have to know that's a part of parenting, and you can't protect your kid from everything. You can't save them from everything. You can't dictate how they're going to receive any message from the world and craft their brain to make it any of that. And if you try, they're going to hate you. So it's not going to work and you're going to push them away. So, I know these things, and I would just be cautious, and I would be aware. I would definitely be patient and attentive, like very, very like attentive, not hands on, but just very attentive. Like it would have my full attention. My kid is going to have my attention, and that's why I haven't put myself in that situation. Um, Even though I'm 27 now, and I still feel like I need another 10 years, and not because I want to be like an old dad, but I just know that much rather that's the type of parent that I want to be, is the dad that could
Yeah.
just pay attention to you all day, and I would need to be older and much more at the other end of this life journey, to be able to be that kind of parent. So I kind of have an idea of the template for that outcome, but at the end of the day, I've learned that I can't plan.
Regarding the thing about another 10 years, there's two things I actually want to ask you. One thing I want to ask you actually. Um, Regarding the 10 years thing, I really recommend reading. Obviously, I think you've already read it, but Ecclesiastes, bro, that book made me age. That book,
Mm,
age, bro.
okay.
Obviously, when you read that, you know about Solomon. Actually, now I've got two questions I want to ask you. You already read Ecclesiastes, right?
I went through it. I went through the whole Bible, but I have to like multiple times, to be able to pick up a scripture. But I went through it. It's like very, very. Is that the one where he's like talking about vanity?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it start off with him talking about working in the garden and the vanity of like his creations?
Um, he basically says like everything is meaningless. He's talking about life. Basically, life without God is meaningless. And at the end of the day, he realizes the meaning of life is to fear God and obey His commandments. But enjoy the food, enjoy everything that comes with life. But of course, the most important thing is to fear God and obey the commandments.
Mm.
But I did have a question. I've got two questions now, actually. Firstly, if you had to like compare yourself to any Bible character, who would you say that you are most like?
Who am I most like?
Yeah.
Whichever one that did all the bad shit, but God still loved him. I think is that David, the one he like got somebody killed, fucked somebody bitch, got drunk, fucking hoes, linked with prostitutes, like that guy, the guy that does all that, and God's like, you know what? That's my dude. That's me. But I've that was me before, and I think that God still knows that that's me as a person. Like God knows my heart. I'm never gonna not be that. That's just what I am. Before I could get my shit together, that's what I was. So that's just who I am at the core. Um, but I will be transformed and made new into something else. But I'll always be what I was created to be. So I think that whatever being is in the Bible, I haven't been able to identify that character. I don't know if he's in that, but I did hear me and Devin talk a lot about just that because I'm that's like my main insecurity is that I feel like I was chosen and I was bad. So that's like a thing. But um despite all of that, I was still protected. Even though I took advantage of my favor. I was given favor and I took advantage of it. And you get what you ask for. So you gotta be careful what you ask for. But because it'll just be that. It won't be like that with the other shit that you thought come with it if you don't know that you want that. You gotta get real specific. Um but yeah, whatever character just was humble enough to know the whole time, like, bro, I'm not shit. Like, fuck. Like, I'm just trying to do better every day. I'm trying to do as much good as I can. Not because I want to do all these good things and be this great person. People perceive my actions that way. But the inner dialogue between me and God is like, bruh, if you know how fucked up I am in my head and like how much work I have to do on myself to be like a normal functioning regular like productive person that is like positive influence on people, you would understand why I have to create fucking giant corporation ideas and brands and manage artists and fly around and start event companies and stuff. You know what I mean? That's why now with just, the work that has been done on me by the Lord, it works to just sit on the phone and talk to Devin. That feeds me and soothes me enough to just hear the word of God in a way that's articulated a little bit more than I can, understand it. And it's like I can sit on the phone with him for hours, and in those hours, I'm not trying to escape my nature. So, yeah, whoever that guy is, shout out to him.
There's
There's
something that
something that
I
I
noticed
noticed
with your
with your
sons,
sons,
and not
and not
just your
just your
sons,
son,
but
but
from
from
obviously
obviously
posts from
posts from
before.
before.
Um,
Um,
Obviously this
Obviously,
might
this
be a
might be
bit
a bit
touchy,
touchy,
but
but
um,
um,
No, go in,
when
go
when
in,
your
go
you're
in. Yeah, go all the way in.
when your
when
brother
when your brother
died,
died,
how did
how did
you
you
cope with
cope
that?
with
Like
that? Like
how did
how
that
did that
like?
like?
I don't want
I
to
don't
say
want to
how
say
did that
how
make
did
you
that make you
feel,
feel,
but
but
what was
what was
your
your
emotional
emotional like
response
response
there?
there?
When Zodiac died,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, I mean, at that point, I was used to it. This is normal, but it definitely shook me because of the situation. Like I just booked him a show and he died like the next day, like the day before the show was supposed to happen. Or something like that. It was like a day or a week, and I had to like completely rechange the show into a memorial. So I mean, in my headspace, I was like, man, fuck, I gotta do all this work. That was what my head was. But I mean, like, as my brother, that was just something that you gotta accept and swallow. I mean, in his time, he knows and I know that in his time, every conversation that him and I had, I told him what I could tell him to choose life, you know? And that's just between us. That's not for me to feel bad or carry around or want people to know that I was the person that tried to advocate for this or that or nothing. Like, but whenever it happened or whatever happened, I wasn't attached to any type of emotion because I've already went through that experience so many times. And I just know that it's not something that I can blame them for, feel bad about, blame God. I knew that. I mean, it's unfortunate that we had so much potential and we had so much happening and then it just got taken away. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, shit happened, like,
Mm. Um, your
Your
response to that
response to
made
that
me
made me
reflect
reflect
like
like
you've
you've
already
already
gone
gone
through
through
like
like
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
losses
losses
like
like
that.
that. Um,
hell yeah, yeah, nigga.
how's it?
I've been losing my niggas since I was like 14, bro. I've been losing my
Oh
partner
wow.
since. I was a kid. I was coming home. My dad like, oh, your brother, your homeboy in the paper. I'm like, damn. Yeah, that was the first time my brother, long live Josh, my brother meet, man. First funeral I went to as a young nigga, like that shit fucked me up. Like I'm talking about me and my partner just kicking it the day before. Like I'm telling niggas he is not dead. I just was with this nigga yesterday. I'm like, nah, that nigga dead. He died. And between that night when he left and went out, he died. So he's dead now. I'm like, shit. It happened just like that. So I've been already like, okay, that's what that is. Like, okay, cool. It don't make it no easier to 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 deal with it in life when your friends are gone, but internally, you don't just sit and cry or ponder or feel any kind of way when you like know how it just is. Like just it's just the way it is.
Mm. Of course, like the reason why I was asking you is because when one of my uncles died, obviously we were told that like yeah we will see him again. We have hope as believers, but I'm not sure if like your friends were believers when they died. But of course, looking at it now and looking at it then, do you think it's been a difference? Because obviously you said that this you now have hope, you now have like structure, you now have all these different things in your life. Um, yeah, like how do you feel about that though? Like, do you have like any regrets or anything that you wish that like maybe things could have been different if like the gospel was shared or
Yeah.
if like
But
you
it's
know
so
like
much deeper though. It's so much deeper though. It roots so much deeper. It's deeper than the gospel being shared. It's people knowing who they truly are. If the people in the Bible, if my people knew who they truly were, if we knew who we truly were, at one point in time, there wouldn't be no such thing as a broken household. There wouldn't be no such thing as a single black mom. There wouldn't be no such thing as a kid out there in the street on drugs. There wouldn't be no such thing as gang banging. There'd be no such thing as poverty. There'll be no such thing as, you know, fucking armed robberies and shit like that, or you know what I'm saying, addicts and shit.
mhm,
There would be none of that. If my people knew who they were today, if they knew who they really where they come from, the systems and the things that were used to dismantle at the base what killed my friends would not exist. So talking about the gospel having a difference as if they could have said a prayer and went to heaven and I'll see them again when I die, it's like I understand that God probably put them in my path for them to do what they did for me to be different. They you know what I'm saying? I can't decide the way the heavens gates or heaven operates because I know that people are used for a purpose, and we are so individual, we are so different that acceptance and that relationship or that ability to abide or be accepted or be welcomed into the gate, whatever it may be, I don't think that there's a way that they're not in a place that they're happy. I think that you there's definitely heaven, one heaven, but I definitely know that some people, if there's a room and the only way into this specific room is if you have done this specific thing, then there's some people that go into that room, and that room is for those people. But there's other rooms in this big giant house kingdom, and maybe certain people were meant for other rooms. Maybe certain people were born to have to try to get into that room, and some people were born to try to get into that room. And maybe your ability to make it into heaven is your ability to get to the room you were designed to get inside of, instead of everybody thinking that they just trying to get into this one room. It's a kingdom. So I don't have any regrets because I think that they were definitely used for what they were used for, for God's will to be done in whatever way, shape, or form it was supposed to be.
yeah, man. You have a very mature look. Like you said, you need to age 10 years, but bro, you're already speaking like King Solomon. Damn, bro. But
But Hmm.
Um, yeah. Wow.
Everything in my
Apart from this, sorry, what did you say?
I say I just really there's really a lot in my head when it comes to all of those things. So I just release like I just release the the weights. I chose to carry a different weight. There was a certain weight that I did carry because of knowledge of certain things, and I chose to swap God told me that, hey, you could choose what you want to put on your back. You can carry that or you can carry this. That's all. Oh, I thought I just was bound to carry this shit. I didn't know that I could just take this and put it on my back. Okay, I mean, it's still carrying something. Yeah, it's not easy, but you feel different. It's a different walk. And I think that's where I'm at now is just understanding what this new thing is, because it's different, but it's fulfilling. Even inside of the pressure, it's not weight. I'm not going down. It's pressure to build up. It's like I'm getting built up. You know what I mean? You could be getting dragged down. You could be getting pressurized. You know what I mean? Both are happening to you. It's just what's being
Which
done.
one are you picking?
Yeah. So I say, yeah. Now I'm just, it's the things that are coming in are pressurizing. They're catalysts for major changes. I'm still working. Like I say, I'm wise enough to know that I gotta take my time. That's just the only way it's gonna get done. I can't. I could tell you every single day. I'm gonna stop this tomorrow. I'm gonna stop this tomorrow. I'm gonna stop this tomorrow. I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm not even gonna cap you down. I know that I can create the method in my head to make the change over time. But I know that I gotta just take it slow. Even if it's like, dang, am I even? Nah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So
Well, bro. Yeah. Do you mind if I just pray with you right now, bro? I
absolutely.
no, no. I just want to say thank you for the life of Lonzo. You've seen him for the 27 years he's been alive. But I'm grateful for his own life. I'm grateful for the things he's doing in his own life. I'm grateful for the people you've put around him, Lord. Lord, I pray that he will never walk away from your side, Lord. I pray that you'll strengthen him, Lord. You'll have courage and boldness, and favor will follow him in everything that he does, Lord. Lord, once again, I just want to say thank you. Because if it wasn't you, we wouldn't even be here having this conversation. Lord, I don't know what your will is for Alonzo, but Lord, I pray that he will not miss his time. Everything that happens to him, it shall be because you guided him through it, Lord. Lord, I'm tired of seeing many people losing their faith because of being impatient. But Lord, you've given him patience, Lord. You've granted him wisdom, Lord. And please, I pray that of the talents that you've given to him, I pray that they will multiply. And there'll be nothing that he does that will not be fruitful. Thank you so much for his life. And thank you once again, because I already know that everything is in your hands. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you
Yeah,
so
man.
thank you so much, brother. Thank you, brother.
Nah, cool, bro. Now we just thank God, bro. Honestly, man. Everything you told me, I'm actually inspired. I just can't. I just can't wait to see what happens next. But yeah, man. Is there anything else you would like to say? Anything that you'd want to?
I saw Long Live Audrey. That's all from her. Everything from my entire anything, everything. This is the one.
Uh,
That's the one. But so much love, Charles. We got so much to do, brother. I'm super excited, man. I'm just super excited. I'm super pumped up to just continue to take the steps, step by step by step, and we're just going to keep seeing everything unfold, and one day just see how beautiful Protector can be, and like the effects of it. I think that's the beautiful part that I'm excited to see. Not really as much as us to have a successful app, but when we can look at how it's changed people, and then we can see that there's a difference. It's like I can't wait to live in a different time. Like that just like it's such a fueling feeling to like look out into the world and see, okay, yes, it's bad right now, but that doesn't
mhm,
give me a feeling of disdain and a feeling of like depression. I look out and see how bad it is, and I can see if the work is done, how amazing life could be if it changed and it was the opposite. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, imagine how fun life could be if everything was just the opposite way that it is right now. We can see how bad it could get. Okay, well then we can kind of expect what it looks like when it's all good. I think people can perceive that that's a reality, but they can't fathom that that doesn't have to be heaven. Humanity being in a place of unity and being in a place of oneness does not have to be after we all die. Is it easy to
mhm.
achieve here? Fuck no. I done fucking went broke 1,000 times trying to create a community of people that all see eye to eye and fucking behave and be loyal to each other and help each other do this shit. Shit is not easy. It costs, and you feed a lot of people that one day leave you to die. But what happens is you can see through a lens of what's possible. And I just hope everybody at some point gets to see what I've seen. And if I have to do work to vocalize it, to give it to them visually in their brain, I will talk all fucking day. I don't care. But we're gonna wrap it up with that, brother. I think that we got an amazing amount of content just from the first our first talk, and just the questions you had were amazing, man. Like those are great questions. They deliver like a really good message. I think that people could definitely see into something with, just if they are willing to hear this, they can definitely get some out of it.
Yeah, man. Thank you,
Thank you,
bro.
bro.
And the
And the
pleasure is
pleasure is
all
all
yours,
yours,
bro.
bro.
We should do this on my, but I have this in the. This is a server that has a non-expiring link, and I'll send this to you in the video, and then if I put it on YouTube, or you put it on YouTube, whatever you want, I'll send you the link for the Discord, and people can hit that link and join into this video server chat at all the time, 24/7, and just communicate with who's inside of it. It's for support, it's for evangelism, it's for connecting, it's for sharing information. If you read a Bible verse and you have a revelation about it, you can jump on and talk to somebody about it. So I just want to build this up into something that's always pumping, it's always active, it's always willing to give a hand. And thank you for allowing me to do something in it to kind of give it a proof of concept.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Of
of
course,
course,
bro. Of
bro. Of
course,
course,
man.
man.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
bro.
bro.
Wait, are
Wait,
you
are you
still
still
recording?
recording?
Um, yeah, I actually forgot.